today we are having the leader of marketing, which have excelled the art of waking up the consumers and the converting funnels without even offering the desserts. Guys, can you please introduce yourself like one by one?
Cool, I'll start. Hi, guys. My name is Anshul Batra. I lead the marketing services vertical for Paytm. This includes largely advertising, both branding, performance, and gift vouchers. So, yeah, Paytm ads.
Hello, myself Ashish. I take care of marketing for Home Credit, which is an NBFC.
Hi, I'm Harpinder. I had digital and e-commerce at Air India Express. Basically, user acquisition and user experience on digital.
Hi, my name is Rajiv Dubey. Similar to what Anshul does is what I do for Dabur.
Hi, my name is Shantanu Chauhan. I look after the marketing at Noise. We are leading smart wearable brand in India.
Hi everyone, I'm Sneha Jha. I lead paid media and CLM for KFC India.
All right, guys. So before starting the conversation, I just want to, crack our dad joke. So, can someone tell me why crabs does not do volunteering? Anyone? No? Because they are shellfish. All right. Let's start with the conversation. So moving on. So my first question is with Ashish Tiwari. So, sir, how has your approach to the marketing measurement evolved in the past 2 years? And what are the driving changes?
Okay, cool. Pretty interesting question. I think in past 2 years, couple of things which have been, and all of us know. One is that when you're looking at the search, the user behavior is changing dramatically. And some of it, if we are following the Google closely, you would have seen the way their own KPI metrics have changed. What used to be 2.5 years back, the entire search page, one of the metrics was how quickly the user moves out, which has today changed to how long is he retained on that. The overall user behavior has changed. So the top of the funnel search or whatever, I mean, while as marketers, all of us have the habit of breaking consumers in different silos. So top of the funnel search is moving towards whatever AI engines, whether it is Perplexity or ChatGPT, people are no more interested in kind of trying to figure out hit and trial. They are looking for a very, very assured answers. And bottom of the funnel is going to Amazon and Flipkarts of the world. That has made us look at the overall search KPIs very differently, overall marketing KPIs very differently. Because of when you look at our discovery, our marketing KPIs, which used to be the overall traffics coming in and looking at that how the traffic is flowing, to looking at how the engagement is happening. And that's somewhat reflective in the way if somebody is following the overall, any of the search tools which you are using or any of the engagement and marketing and measurement tools you are using.
And if you talk about search KPIs, so what are the KPIs that you focus on?
See, because we are an NBFC brand, it's very interesting. I give out credit.
Yep.
And one of the most beautiful thing about credit is you only get it if you don't need it.
Yeah.
Nobody gets the money who needs it. Yeah. If you need the money, I will leave you guys. I don't know if I can give you anything on marketing, but I can certainly tell you something. If you ever need a credit or loan, don't go searching for it. The more you search, the lesser are the chances you will get it. Okay, and I'm not kidding. That's the reality of it. So one of the marketing KPIs on the search is to be able to look at the user behavior and then predict that is the user really looking at, on the credit hungerness and digital engagement, where does this user falls? And if I put a XY, again, marketer, if you don't create kind of very jargonized frameworks, trust me, your CTC is under threat. So the jargon here is on X-axis you plot the digital engagement, on Y-axis you plot something called as a credit hungerness, and then try and look at. So that's something which we use as a framework.
So it sounds like your campaign is look like a friend without benefit. This is credit is a friend which is like not giving you the benefit at the time of you need the benefit. All right. Moving on to
I
the,
won't comment on that. I think, I don't know what you had on lunch.
all right. So moving on to moving on to the Harbinder. Harbinder, the same question. How has your approach to the marketing measurement evolved in the past 2 years, and what are the driving changes?
Okay, to start with, I just did a search on loan availability for home loans in the morning, so I'm now a bit worried about the prospects. Keeping that aside, coming to the frameworks, a bigger shift, I believe, is on the approach of a larger understanding of the customer behavior. What used to be more transactional till, a few years back for a wider section of the industry, which was a channel-specific approach, is now more customer-centric approach and a lot more multi-channel than looking at just the last click attribution of a lot of things. Beyond just the metrics and the approaches, is I think measurement or digital analytics in general has failed to deliver the promise that it came up with 15 years, 10 years back, when all the platforms were just coming up with the measurement platforms. So the businesses are now focusing back on the basics again. So while the metrics haven't changed, how are they linked to business KPIs has definitely become a lot more of a stronger ask from business. And that is where these shifts from the vanity metrics or the things that were considered important for a long period of last decade are now less relevant, but conversion and the actual hardcore business KPIs being linked to the digital analytics measurement KPIs is what has become a lot more important.
And is it true, if I search for the flight multiple times, you will increase the rate of the flight?
Not yet. Thanks for the idea. We'll work on that.
All right. So that's not my fault. It was their plan already.
I can tell you tools how to do that.
All right. So moving on to Sneha. Sneha, the same question. How has your approach to the marketing measurement evolved in the past 2 years, and what are the driving changes?
A lot has changed, Udit. We are not happy with just millions and millions of reach, multiple comments coming in on posts. We're not happy with that. I think where we are as a brand, we know that we are anyway higher on the awareness level, so we are not worried about building that. Definitely want to hold it, but what we are constantly moving towards is how can we improve middle of the funnel, how can we become a little more, much more in your consideration set. So thinking towards that has improved. We also have a lot of focus on measurements from business. So, like understanding our average daily sales, understanding our average daily transactions, understanding the menu mix movements. So basically the contribution of the product that you're trying to sell. So tying all that back and then looking at our brand health metrics as well in tandem. So I think every day, and I'm a part of something that we call the Marketing Excellence Unit that we built for KFC India. And the intent is to just not be happy with just what you are doing, but collaborate with others in the team. And there's a solid team that helps us get intelligence from our first party data, intelligence from what's coming in from Power BI in terms of daily metrics coming in from dine-in, offline, app, aggregators. So tying all of that, that's where we are in terms of our journey right now. We are improving it. We are getting into, getting more triple M's, going in faster, understanding how different touch points, different media is interacting in different bands. We are a 1,200 plus store brand, so we are very, very mindful of what is effective in one region may not be as effective in the other. So how do we have everyday measures on, what kind of media is going in one band versus the other, and understanding the lift for each. So it's a science of its own that we are trying to build here, but definitely has evolved over the last 2 years with these parameters.
And what are your strategies, to retarget the customers, to make them loyal?
So retargeting is definitely important because a fun fact that we obviously have a lot of collection of data from our stores, from the kiosk, from the app. We also get some bit from the aggregator. So all of that data is feeding into intelligence, and we know that for KFC, there's a lot of stickiness that's happening for the brand, naturally, as well as via very targeted CRM initiatives, right? So intent is definitely to keep reaching out to them. For our paid media, of course, a big part of it is also the audience that sits with us, but I would divide our strategies into acquisition much more for paid media and utilizing CLM and tools like Braze that we have right now to
And
target
AppDrove.
and integrate. Yeah.
AppDrove.
Sorry?
Tools like AppDrove to acquire the users.
Yes, definitely. So there's basically a team that sits out, who's constantly thinking about acquisition, and then there's a team that's thinking about retention. All of it needs to work together to move the table. It's a daily war room that's set up for KFC.
Although KFC is not using AppDrove, but I hope like in future, like I would like to pitch you the MMP product.
Definitely, I'm
license.
sharing coordinates with you right after this panel.
All right. So that's how, that's why my purpose of speaking in MMA has been solved. All right, moving on to Rajiv. So Rajiv, are we over measuring? And how do you decide what not to measure?
So I'll tell you, I come from an industry which is, the size of that industry is about approximately 17 lakh crores in this country, right? 17 lakh crore. Out of that, online part is roughly about 10 to 15%, say roughly about 2 lakh crore, which is also a sizable amount of money to chase. What happens is that one part which is not, where you can't draw attribution, where you can't attribute the sales to your advertising or to the efforts which you do, that still remains a big black box. So I would say that we are not measuring enough, probably. The side which is getting measured, probably that's getting over measured. So what you have to do is that you have to take a formula of 70, 20, 10, where you could put, say, 70% of the money where you're not getting enough, 20% towards, say, market mix modeling, which you do, which is, in which you get to know, you put about 38, 40 variables and you get to know what's working for you, what's not working for you. What has changed in the last 2 years is that we get much more information from digital ecosystem. There's a lot of first-party data which is available to us. So you can measure a lot better. You can attribute your sales a lot better. 10% for more like, more towards data clean rooms and
All right. So
etc.
if you talk about MMM, so what is MMM for you?
So MMM, market mix modeling, basically it's different for different companies. Like for KFC, it would be very different than what is there to us, because our business model is very different, right? Our business is roughly about 10 to 15% business comes out of online, which is e-commerce, quick commerce, etc. About 12% is modern trade, which is like organized retail, which is like Reliance stores, etc. 60-65% is still through retailers, which is basically 80 lakh retailers in the country sell our products. We are available in almost 85 to 90% of the households in the country. Some categories have penetration to the tune of 99%, like toothpaste have penetration of 99%, There are categories where we have penetration as low as 1% as well, right? So they are less distributed. So what we do is we use distribution figures, we use pricing, we use price pack architecture, we use what other companies are doing, we use our consumer promotion, trade promotion data, we use primary, secondary, tertiary data. It's very complicated, right? About 38, 40 variables, and then see what is working for us. That's basically what market mix modeling for us.
One
For
thing-
different companies, it might be very different.
All right. One thing just popped up in my mind, so Dabur is in our kitchen for decades. So how do you face any challenges in targeting the old age audience of yours?
Absolutely. So no, I get this problem a lot, because what happens is that we are facing the same problem what television is facing today, right? A normal TV channel, like say Star Plus, it used to be #1 channel, still is #1 channel in the country. The problem with Star Plus or say any other channel is that it's not getting new viewers to come on and watch. Same thing is with us as well. If I don't talk to younger audiences, if I don't talk to somebody like you, directly, how will I sell? So to do that, we have strategies which basically, I'm able to talk to you as well, and I'm able to talk to somebody who's older as well through different mediums. So for say younger population, we have different strategies which involve usage of influencers, usage of the first-party data which we use for them. Then we try to learn their behaviors. What are they using currently? What are their habits? Because what has happened is that the technology behind the screen, the TV screen, or say any screen, has changed completely. And it's very important to learn that and understand that business very well. If you don't do that, you'll never be able to sell. We survived for 140 years. We'll survive for forever probably. The only way to do is that get to the right customer at the right time and give him the message.
Indeed, in the age of Instagram, you have made, making Chyawanprash very look cool.
Absolutely.
All right. So moving on to the noise, who are not just creating the noise, but creating the waves. So Shantanu, my next question is to you. In a world of fragmented platform, how do you create a single source of truth for marketing impact?
Nice question. I always say this, attribution is still a myth. I mean, no one has actually solved, and it's like a game where I got this conversion, you got this conversion. The same thing happens internally also. So for us, there's no such single source of truth or something, but we have a different metrics for a different team. And something which we need to understand that every metrics lead to a right business goal, what you're chasing. Okay? So whether it is apart from marketing, but there are some roles which is beyond other departments also, there also the metrics defines the entire business goal. So it's not that the marketing have got that particular thing, so this is sorted for us. But yes, there has to be clarity among what they are trying to chase and how come it becomes one single business goal. So that what we are trying to solve. For example, I'll just try to give you an example in a way. For a content team, it is required for them that how well is your content performing, then VTR percentage becomes a metrics for you in a skippable format, not skippable. So in a skippable format, the VTR percentage becomes your metrics for you. And similarly, for a brand team, it becomes a search lift percentage, right? Ultimately, what you're trying to chase is, how much movement you have actually driven. And similarly, for a performance team, it becomes a conversion, right? Now, all these metrics ultimately leading it to a business goal. And we have actually experimented it, and it has come out to be a great success for us. Even entering into a new market, or even creating some market for us, or even the existing markets. And we have actually defined it on that basis, and it has worked really. So it was clean, basic hygienes, no over measurement, simple measurement. They know about this. Everyone knows about this. Even a content team is well versed with every single metrics. That's the best part. We have kept everything in-house. We don't work with a lot of agencies. So people have more clarity. And I think for single source of truth, I think it's clarity over tech is all I can say.
Well said, well said. So Anshul, so if you talk about first-party data and the third-party data and the clean rooms, what is the hype and what actually helping you making better decision today?
Right. So just to give context, I think everyone on this panel is a marketer, and I represent a publisher, right? So I think the platforms that all of our marketers are right now saying do not solve for attribution, I represent one of those platforms today, right? And I'll present my point of view, which may be slightly contrary to, of course, the other eminent panelists, right? And today, while I think almost each of these marketers and advertisers advertise on our platform, but when you ask the question around first-party data versus third-party data, and I'll come to data clean room in a minute, while of course first-party data is the new rage, and everyone wants to capture that and work on that, I'm going to make a slightly more bold statement and say that sometimes third-party data may be more valuable than your first-party data as well.
I agree.
Right? And and the reason for that, I think, is threefold. See, number one is that your first party data, what is the source of that data? That is important. If you cannot just blanket say first party data. Second is, what is the depth of that data? I think that is the most important. And then third is, what is the frequency of updation of that? And the reason I'm gonna just, explain in a second. So when I say, so first of all, what are consumer journeys today? All of our friends today are experiencing that consumer journeys are constantly evolving, moving from online to offline, the channels of purchase are changing, etc. Right? So that takes me to the point of the frequency of updation. Now the second is the depth, which I believe is honestly the most important. What is the depth of this first party data? And here is where I will take maybe a minute to explain where Paytm ads or a fintech publisher like us comes into the play, right? So what is the ecosystem? While a lot of you may know what Paytm is, I'll just take a minute to first explain and then talk about our data and how we use that to achieve growth for our advertisers. So Paytm, of course, deals with a few 100 million users on the app. We have a few million sound boxes and QR devices. We have a few million transactions happening on a daily basis on our payment gateways as well, right? So there are billions of transactions for a few 100 million users that are happening at any instant in the entire ecosystem, right? We use all of these transactional data to form the understanding of a consumer, right? Whereas to say that today with potentially 85-90% of surety, I can say what is the credit card usage of one user versus what is their spending power, how much do they spend on their electricity bill, do they spend more on food and grocery or do they spend more on electronics? Is this user more likely to purchase an iPhone versus is the user more likely to purchase an Android phone, right? So with all of these billions of transactional data that we use, which is first party data for me, but third party data for all of my advertisers today, right? We use the power of all of these data to do the sharpest level of cohorting that I can do. So for example, today, a noise, as an example, might say that, hey, listen, I want to give this offer or target a user who's made a transaction of a phone, who's bought a purchase of a phone in the last 3 months, has a credit card bill of, let's say, ₹1 lakh every month, takes a flight each year, right? This is the kind of user I want to target, right? That is where third-party data from a publisher like Paytm can effectively help target, which is why I mean to say that I don't think there's any right answer for what is first-party data. Obviously, all of us are gauging towards in the new act, collecting more and more first-party data. But third-party data a lot of times can be way more valuable than first-party data. I think that's my submission to this.
And how do you use the data to, for the advertisers?
Right. So like I mentioned, I think while first-party data targeting may be limited to to few channels for an advertiser directly, a fintech publisher like Paytm will, and before how we use that for data, right? I think I'm echoing the sentiment of a lot of our marketers here today that we are moving from the age, I think Sneha said that and Harpinder also said that, we're moving from the age of impressions and reach and frequency to bottom of the funnel conversion, right? Everyone now wants to finally see what is my CAC and what is my ROAS, right? I want return on my dollar spent. So that's where I think that's where a platform like Paytm with deterministic signals, transactional signals, live data signals available comes into the play, where we change the game from just impressions and reach to as much bottom of the funnel and as much targeted towards conversion that we do. Yeah.
All right. So moving on to the last question. So it will be common for all. So looking ahead for the next 2 years. So what all are the metrics that you think that one should track? So what should be the one metrics that one should track over the last 2 years for the next 2 years to get the high growth?
I'll tell you. Should I go? I think the only metric is to, okay. I think the only thing to measure is sales, Dhanda. Kitna dhanda aaya? That's it. Nothing else.
Show me the money.
For everyone?
I
think that's
echo,
unanimous.
and honestly, without the dhanda conversation, all the other metrics, respect to them,
So
but we have to get
so
good.
then let me reframe it. So tell me about the the retargeting of one KPI which you will want to track to retarget the user, so that it will be too much focus and customer centric.
I,
So the retargeting, you know, any KPI which can.
I had a very different answer. It wasn't sales only. So I would say speed to insight is something which I would look forward to because often it happens. I'll tell you a simple example. For me, like a person like me who is very small in terms of the business numbers out here sittings, but BLS नहीं समझ में आता. You know, you can't interpret out of that. You can't make decision out of that. And how will you do the next level of what are the changes you need to do? What are the things which you need to do? So it's a very simple thing that how much speed to insight we can bring out, whether it through tech or whatsoever, which is yet to be evolved. So that's what I'm looking for the next 2 years. Like, yeah.
So to generate the dhanda, what should be the KPI, sir?
So for me, there are two. Okay. One is very, very clear business KPI, which is about PPC, product per customer.
Okay.
Because of at my kind of a business, once I have given you credit and I have tested your credit worthiness, I always know that your behavior does not changes at a cohort level. So my cost of doing business is always lesser. True for every other business, but when you have a somewhere around 20 odd million kind of a base, becomes all the more true. That's one. From the marketing side, it's about cost of effort for a customer, CES score, which we track with a hawk's eye. It's not NPS, because NPS is vanity now. It's CES. How effortless are you making customers to be able to connect, discover, connect and transact? And all three need to be maintained. I think these are only two things. If we are able to crack, I think in our business, we are home.
All right. Like, so everyone okay with that? Or do you have any, you know, something to say? Do you have something to say?
nothing contrary, but I mean, just to supplement that, I think that there are two ways of looking at KPIs. One is purely for reporting, where I believe that things are going to converge. So whatever metrics that we look at very individually, very specifically for specific campaigns and purposes, from a reporting POV, they'll consolidate into very bottom of the funnel thing. But from content generation, from campaign planning, campaign execution, things are going to become a lot more fragmented. So for the same KPI, you're looking at geographically, how is it doing? How is it doing for a certain cohort? How is it doing for a certain demographic? And not that it has not been happening earlier, but I think given the capabilities that we have today in the forms of CDPs, etc., which are a lot more evolved and connected, it's only going to, from an execution standpoint, it's only going to get more fragmented, and from a reporting POV, it's only going to get more consolidated.
All right. So on that note, I would like to, you know, thank you all to join this panel. Thanks a lot, everyone, and thanks for listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.